Good morning, everybody. It's August 21st, Friday, here in the great state of Arizona. Now, law-abiding citizens versus American. What is the difference? Well, America is about freedom, bravery, opportunity, limited government, accountability, and promoting the human awesome sauce. NASA did a study in the late 1960s on the creative geniuses of children. They did about 1,500. They studied 1,500 kids from 5 to 6, and concluded that NASA would employ them and put them on space missions. Unfortunately, they also talked about how the education system dumbs people down. 30% drop off rate at 10 years old, and by 21, fewer than 2% of the original 1,500 would qualify as creative genius. Now, why is this important? The question, that's the question. It's like, why do you guys go out of your way to be stupid? Groups of people are dangerous. When people are in groups, it's easier to manipulate because they'll straight up tell you, they'll straight up lie to you. You know, you don't know who the actors are, you don't know what is what. People, generally speaking, are good people and they want what's best. Unfortunately, brainwashing means you get a different alternative. When I keep talking about the 20%, America, humanity has a 20% chance of being on 3 different planets in 75 years. That is math. That is what science and biology has to say. Not mainstream, because mainstream science will tell you that 98% of the human DNA is junk DNA, which is more of an understanding of the quality of the education and your college degree, saying that 98% of everything that you study is junk. Because God, universe, quantum mechanics, dimensions and stuff like that, they don't make junk. Religion, government, agencies, they produce junk. America, I've always thought of America as a communist country. Think about it. We have the Bill of Rights. We have the Declaration of Independence, which says, hey, we don't want our country, we don't want a government to tax us relentlessly. We don't want our government to kill us for random reasons. We don't want tyrannical laws that have no value towards the American people. And these unelected, nobody voted for federal agencies have no business existing. And the ATF justifies their crimes against humanity, the country, and genocide as we don't want the citizens to overthrow the government. That is the equivalent of a grown man working his ass off, doing a highly dangerous job, and coming home to see his wife sleeping with 3 other dudes. And then the girl gaslights and tell him everything that he's been doing is wrong. You work too much. You don't pay me enough. You don't make enough money. Complain. And the real question is why do grown men deal with wives that do nothing but complain? As soon as you sit down and have a moment of peace, that bimbo is right up your ass, just being an obnoxious, angry person. Instead of being fun and being a partner, being the other half that you're supposed to be. I love my country. And America was founded on fuck the government. These flock cameras, everybody knows that it is unconstitutional. Everybody knows that these flock cameras are designed to destroy the country from the inside out. It has always been a crime to work for the government. People have sacrificed our freedom and the freedom of others for a little bit of safety, which is a very coward thing to do. Back when I was in boarding school and my teachers were talking about the awesome sauce of why America's a country and what makes it great, the diversity and how we are a mutt mixed blood country, that's fucking amazing. People are willing to go from hostile, dangerous, deadly countries to move to America to see what they're made out of. A lot, in fact, most of my top 5 people that I respect in the United States are foreign born. There's this guy, his name is Pat Bet-David. Watch it. He's responsible for Valuetainment. He's a business owner. He's from the Middle East. And he talked about tyranny. He talked about freedom. He had that bipolar aspect of things. And he's fighting hard for America. And then we got another foreign-born, hardcore American fighting for our freedom. His name is Elon Musk. The only productive thing the U.S. government has ever done in the last 40 years of my life was pay Elon Musk to build rockets and to make cool cars. Now, I disagree with the electronics in the car because electronics always wind up in surveillance. His cars alone, this is not a knock, this is not disrespect, this has nothing to do with the ideology of electric cars and everything like that. There are a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. The con is your freedom has been trashed. Like I said, this is just what it is. When you have more surveillance, you have less freedom. When you sacrifice your freedom for safety, you get 80% of the government of the citizens of the United States vaccinated, which is stupid. Which means you willfully are stupid, coward, and proud of it. It is an absolute embarrassment. Like, why do people willfully work for the government knowing full well that it is anti-American? You feel threatened when people hold you accountable. I have been waiting 30 years for the government to collapse. And that's why 80% got the government vaccine, the slave virus. The government needs to fear the citizens. That's what freedom means. Limited government, limited power, and back to the people. They don't want Americans growing gardens. They don't want Americans being self-sufficient. People who work for the government have control issues. They are no different than that cheating wife. We voted for our judges, we voted for our president, and we voted for the sheriff. The sheriff department in Arizona willfully opened up the borders. And then when you're holding them accountable, all they have to say is, oh, you're getting misinformation, you're getting this, you're getting that, they're lying to you. I'm like, if the media is lying to me, then why are we here talking about the voting thing. The sheriff department has committed treason. We elected you to defend us from big government. When the president says, do this and do that, and it's unconstitutional, and you do it anyways, that just confirms on how soft and coward you really are. We voted you in to defend our country. It's the individual states that gives the power. The Constitution is an umbrella protection. We could have the United States could have just as easily been 50 different countries. Instead, we made the choice of being 50 states under one flag. And you want to consider love for diversity as hate speech. There are like when you're going to get a college degree, you're trusting the teacher to give you valuable, useful information to further human existence. The purpose of college is to expand the mind, to put you in situations where you're forced to grow intellectually, which sharpens up the mind. When you have teachers that are angry and are yelling at you, and they say, hey, this is racism, that's racism, that's racism, and then you want to question them, that makes your college degree absolutely worthless. The reason why this is so fucking important is that we can be when JFK was talking about putting a man on the moon, and then there's people that say that we never went to the moon. The real thing is, since we made a big public thing, if America never went to the moon, Russia and China would have been up our asses laughing and mocking the American people. We've had two presidents directly violate the Bill of Rights, forcing people to get vaccinated and forcing people to get medical insurance, and nobody batted an eye. It was just talk, talk, talk. Your constitutional rights are being stripped away in front of you. And now you guys are coming up with more reasons to destroy America. Oh, it's a criminal. The thing about tyranny is that they will always find more reasons to destroy America, which is more laws, more agencies, and more cowards bragging about government employment. Yes, I said that. Those who find the Constitution offensive choose to work for government and destroy the country from the inside out. Government employment is the definition of genocide, treason, and domestic terrorism. These flock cameras is a direct threat to the American people. And it confirms that people who work for the government are fat, lazy, and coward, and are dumbing down the citizens. You don't want freedom, or you would have been on the other side. You're supposed to be a public servant, not a domestic terrorist. America means fuck the government. We elected federal judges to defend the Constitution, and yet they commit treason when they allow the FBI, the CIA, Child Protective Services, all of these anti-American agencies using government power to destroy, steal children, and harass the citizens. It has always been constitutionally legal to stand up and fight for freedom. Now, I have been working for the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, trying to get a gardening system in the public's eyes, trying to get a recycling program into the government's eyes, into the public's hands. And every step of the way, it has been nothing more than pointless backstabbing bullshit. People have literally tried to kill me. Imagine going to an authority who thinks that they have your back. You tell them the story of how people have been trying to kill you, and the pig, the faggot wearing a badge, all he cares about and brag about is throwing illegals out of the country and completely dismissing the fact that people have been trying to kill me. You may call that delusional, you may call it, say whatever the fuck you want. But as a self-employed, as a person who is self-funded, sure, I may have a trust fund, which only gives back the evidence that people have tried to kill me. Imagine trying to get your patent working, being American, bragging about human potential, trying to get a book up and going, bringing back the spirituality, bringing back the in God we trust, standing on principle, standing on freedom. And right when you're about ready to pay a patent lawyer or get on the monthly payment so you can get this patent up and going, knowing full well that corporations will spend millions of dollars, keep you in court for decades just to waste the inventor's time. That is unconstitutional, and the judges who do that should be publicly executed for crimes of treason. Private citizens should have the right, need to have the right to protect their patents from corporations who know that they can just throw money and throw money and throw money. While the judge who we elected to defend our country from the beginning only drags this out, knowing full well that the little guy is getting fucked over by corporate. And this has been an issue since the 1900s with the Rockefellers, with the Fords. The 40-hour work week is designed to stress you out, to treat you like a slave, and so you have no energy to fight back. The weekend is not a luxury. Now, why is it week? W-E-E-K instead of W-E-A-K. Week. It's a play on words, which means you're going through the week. You're weakening yourself. America is about ambition. America is about power to the people. America is about creativity, not jealous losers who'd rather spend their time complaining, whining, and destroying. Oh, he's got something that I want, therefore it's mine. That's what jealousy and greed and all that stuff is about. Try inner peace. For those who seek inner peace, will promote world peace. And there is no inner peace when you're paranoid, delusional, and you think that the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights is a threat to your life when the agency has no business existing. It is really soul crushing to talk about America and knowing that nobody in this country is brave, free, or classified as an American. Remember, every agency only adds to the communist threat. America has been in a civil war for several decades. If JFK survived his presidency, humanity would be walking on Mars 10 years ago. That is how much I understand human potential. I am absolutely embarrassed, and it's insulting. There's nothing honorable about working for a government agency. There's nothing honorable about registered firearms, which is an act of treason to an agency who has no business existing. And their justification for existing is so that people don't overthrow the government when the agencies themselves are overthrowing the Constitution, which is genocide, treason, domestic terrorism. And for the military, you're supposed to defend America from foreign and domestic enemies. So, conclusion. If people in government honestly valued human potential, they would want you to grow your own food. They would want you to have your firearms loaded. They would want you to respect the Constitution. They wouldn't have flock cameras. They wouldn't open their mouths and cry like little babies, justifying why they are sleeping with everybody because they didn't feel loved or appreciated, when every dollar has been stolen by the government and called it taxes, which is extortion and theft. Let's resurrect America. Working for government is an act of treason. These flock cameras, everybody knows, including the cowards that are saying, it's criminal activity. The laws themselves are act of treason. The law enforcement don't give a fuck about freedom, or they wouldn't be wearing body armor like stormtroopers in Star Wars movies. You pass a standardized, sterile test, which means you're not competent enough to think or make critical decisions. Your careers is based on paranoia, fear, and genocide.